started that. This episode of Getting Table is brought to you by Valhalla Hobby. Use code TABLE to get 5% off any order over $100, one use only. Thank you for our tablers for choosing to support us. Please consider becoming a Patreon for $2 a month. Listen to us record live and get early access to almost all video content from our channel.
Brought to you by some guys on the internet.
This is Getting Tabled.
With your hosts, Jason the Bruce,
You guy!
George the Yang,
I hope you are all entertained by my inaptitude.
Jason aka Major Socks.
We've been doing this and talking about various stuff. One of the stuff.
Now sit back, relax, and get tabled.
Hello, future people, and welcome to episode 170 of Getting Tabled with your host. He's only eligible for a 3.8% pay increase, Jason Major Socks.
Hey, yep, that's me. Well, at least I'm working for volunteer right now.
That's true.
So-
That is true. You're volunteer Socks.
I'm a volunteer socks. I'm not major socks. I've been demoted to volunteer socks.
That's even worse than civilian, right?
I think so. And we got George, who's maybe freezing in Wyoming. Maybe.
No, it's it gets to freezing at night, and then it gets to like the 60s in the afternoon. So, normal.
Yeah.
Jason the Bruce is not with us tonight. He had a he needed a break, so he said, "Hey, I'm not going to be here." We're like, "Oh, all right, fine."
We know how that is. We've
Yep.
all had those
Yep.
days.
Yep. So if you enjoyed listening to him, this episode is not for you. If you don't like listening to him, this episode is definitely
This
for you.
great episode.
So we're gonna go get ahead and get into this.
Newly received or noteworthy information, especially about recent or important events.
And first up on the list is some Games Workshop stuff. And Bruce is still being tempted by the allure and draw of the Chaos Dwarves. And now we have some Bull Centaur Anointed Sentinels. And these look pretty cool. They're very Chaos Dwarfy.
What you like?
Well, no, I like dwarves. I'm not so Chaos is filthy.
Bruce likes chaos. Dwarves.
Yes, he does. These are really cool. Usually the dwarf ethos, it's just a dwarf, but in Chaos, they do things differently.
Yeah.
So you have dwarf centaurs, which is it really a centaur if it's not a horse? Shouldn't these be a pony since they're dwarves, right?
Something like that.
Helmet. I've got the image up with the one with the I guess the brass bull helmet would be the best description of it. And it looks pretty amazing. Overall, I think these are great looking minis as far as something new to come out for the Sigmar line, especially for an army that people have been wanting for years. Next on the release is the Daemonsmith / Ashen Elder, which is really a cool, neat concept since it's a dwarf wizard essentially, which is a big no in as far as
That's
the
not
dwarf
fun.
race goes. So Bruce specifically wanted to let you know that since you're not the Warhammer guy, that dwarves that use magic turn to stone when they use it.
So is it going to be a statue for the rest of your game after you use him once?
Well, if you look at the one image, he's got one hand that's been replaced, probably because it turned to stone, so it got replaced. And one of the three part image, if you look at the head on the one, it's turning to stone as well. So
Yeah.
and since I'm just following the links that Bruce provided, all these prices are in Australian dollars. So I'm trying not to freak out too much looking at some of these prices. I just am feeling pity for our folks down under. And then last we got this guy, Urak Taar, the first Daemonsmith. which this guy is pretty fantastic looking. Do you have him pulled up, Socks?
Yeah, I do have him pulled up. He does look pretty cool riding that bull.
I'm gonna say it's like the
Bull.
Iron Bull with
Yeah.
metal wings. Essentially, it's a what's the word? The D&D class where they make things. The word is escaping me.
Been years,
No,
been a few years since I played D&D, so I think I know what you're talking about, but I can't. It's escaping me as well.
but it's definitely a mechanical mount.
Well, yeah.
God, I'm usually so good at remembering these little random things, and I'm totally bailing on that one. That there's 2 kits in this one. It looks like it looks really good, or maybe it's just painted 2 different ways.
I think it's painted 2 different ways,
Yeah,
and it's just 2 different style of heroes that you can have. One with the banners and one without. Oh no, I guess the banners are on the back one. It's just hard to see with that
the pose.
the pose of the first image, the one that's bronzed.
Artificer. It's an artificer
Yeah,
creation. Good
there you go.
Lord. So yeah, I'll show you price on that. It's $275. I'm guessing it's probably gonna be like a 110, 125 ish miniature for the US dollars. It's a really good looking mini in my opinion. It's got a look at aesthetic I haven't seen in a Games Workshop mini in a while. With
165 US.
165 US. Okay, so not too far off. But with the mechanical, artificer style creation there, like it looks really solid. With that miniature right there, these have a good look as far as a kind of a mirror opposite to like a Fire Slayer army, since the Fire Slayers have their one big dragon, and then it's mainly foot troops. So, and then finally, it wouldn't be the holiday season from Games Workshop without the Red Gobbo. So again, the Red Gobbo is back again. Always a fun, whimsical, happy-looking goblin that's supposed to be Santa.
Hauling around his rifles that's been stuffed with Christmas lights, and he's dragging a bag of goodies behind.
And of course, he's in a dreadnought-esque type
Warsuit,
mount, so to speak. So, I like the fact that not every company can do this, but the fact that Games Workshop can and does do a whimsical miniature for Christmas. Like I said, it's like TT Comic could do it, but like some of these other smaller companies, they don't want to devote those resources or the time to it. So,
Yep.
Next up on our list, this caught my eye, and unfortunately, that's all it's going to be able to do. Below the Asylum. So this is from Awaken Realms. This is another fairly active crowdfunding company. They are out of Poland. They've done several games that I do have. That's ISS Vanguard, the Nemesis series, Lords of Ragnarok, Tainted Grail, and others. This one feels and looks to me like a competitive piece to CMON's Cthulhu Death May Die, where you play as investigators and you have your dashboard and you're exploring an asylum. I've got the little video kind of up on the screen right now, and the miniatures that they have displayed in this video, obviously they're still just prototypes, but my God, are they stunning. Especially the 2-part ones with the clear plastic to go with just the normal plastic, to give them more depth and feel without the painting. I really hope they do that for the final product. Available in multiple languages: English, Spanish, German, French, Polish, Italian, and I'm not sure of the red, white, and blue one with the blue's kind of a triangle. I'm not
That might be Czechoslovakia,
could be Czechoslovakia.
if I'm remembering my flags right.
Right, yeah. But it is Lovecraftian based, so it's not actually based on the works of Lovecraft like Call the Cthulhu Death May Die is, but is based on that concept of, eldritch horror. So it's such a great genre that, H.P. Lovecraft unintentionally created when he was writing back in the day. So,
Yeah.
let's see here. There's going to be expansions for it, obviously. Scrolling down through this, but Bruce commented that when I showed this to him, he said it's probably going to be Cthulhu Death May Die-esque, but plays kind of like Nemesis. So the standard edition is €59. I think it's like right around $65, and then the special edition about $100. And the all-in, I want to say, was like $300 ish, and that's everything on the special edition side. And of course, and this is something that Gamefound did, and I love them for it, and both hate them at the same time for it. They have their stretch pay options, so I think it worked out to, I want to say, $40 a month for 7 months for the all-in, which,
Yeah.
given this day and age right now, $40 a month is a pretty reasonable
It's not bad.
ask for, a monthly payment on a game. I scroll down here and I've got the guy in the, with the blindfold with the blue crystal
with his little
cats.
spirit felines.
Yeah, if like I said, if they can actually do that and pull that off for like the actual game miniatures, absolutely stunning. The one thing I will say though, because there are those that, and I'm trying to, and there are those who do paint their miniatures for these games. I really hope they make it easy for the crystal cats to be pulled off, so you can paint the mini and then reattach them and still have that.
Reattach them. Yeah.
They've it was ISS Vanguard. I'm trying to think if I think it was just ISS Vanguard. They've got some of the monster encounter miniatures in that game where it's gray plastic, but then they've glued on like, this, clear plastic, which it makes a plain mini look so much more dynamic.
The one in his hand, it would be difficult to detach the way it is. But the one on his shoulder, I could see being able.
These are still just concepts too. Like, this is not
absolutely.
product. So, this could have just been like, a digital rendering they did to, when they go to do this, it may be like, oh, we can't do that, so it's just going to be solid gray or posed differently so they can do that. But yeah, like I said, look at this. This has a very Cthulhu Death May Die feel to it with, your investigators and you're investigating an asylum. I don't know how they're going to do the level of replayability. With Death May Die having different episodes, different investigators, different monsters, where it's like just off like what I've got, just episodes and gods, I've got like I think 287 different games I could play, which that's crazy. So really interesting. I hope things do change and I can at least get the core. This definitely has the feel and look of a game I would definitely want, with it being co-op and that that horror-ish kind of feel. So next on our docket for news off of Gamefound is some.
Speaking of Cthulhu May Die,
Cthulhu Death May Die has been sold by CMON to Asmodee.
The conglomerate buys again.
So what does this mean? Well, CMON says for backers it means nothing. Asmodee has bought the intellectual property and crowdfunding as is. So the agreement of the sale is that Asmodee will fulfill this most recent crowdfunding for Cthulhu Death May Die as is. So that gives me great hope of like, okay, good, I'm going to get this game because this is a great game. I love this game. I don't know if Asmodee is going to keep it going or if they're just going to like continue to crank out what's been done for it. But that's also really bad news for CMON, because at this point they have sold just about everything. They've sold Zombicide, which is what they started with. They've now sold Death May Die. They've sold the properties they bought from Mythic Games.
Yeah.
Some of their other catalog.
They're selling a lot of their IP that they either bought off of other companies or their own.
Yeah. So about the only two big IPs they have left are the licensing for Game of Thrones, right? Yeah.
I think it's theirs.
Yeah, Game of Thrones. Well, I was making sure I was saying the right name. And Massive Darkness, which they have those two projects in development right now off of their recent crowdfundings. I have their progress tracker of their crowdfundings and pre-orders up on a different webpage, and they're still doing stuff.
Yeah.
But between their issue with the Clan Wars game, where they had a falling out with Six More Vodka and legal issues, and the promise to refund that crowdfunding, which is about $330,000, the sale of this, things aren't looking good. But looking at the trackers, they're still progressing forward with stuff. Dark Providence, which was another Lovecraft board game that they had an add-on for Death May Die of 5 investigators. That's in the process of shipping for fulfillment right now. So, we still have. They're still doing stuff. They're not gone completely radio silent like Mythic has, but things are not looking good, especially with the next news. They're issuing more shares for purchase, trying to bring in more investor money to obviously, keep themselves afloat. It's usually not a great sign when a company does that when they're not in a growth period. If they're in a growth period, that's one story. But the fact that they're selling off a bunch of stuff and then issuing shares, that's not a great sign. But again, they are taking whatever steps they can to try to stay open and deliver what they have going. So I'm not going to hold my breath. They're doing a way better job of communicating this and exploring more options than Mythic Games ever did. But again, we've seen 4 or 5 other companies that, were very heavy on the crowdfunding close their doors. And unfortunately, it may look like CMON may be the next one. So... And then another crowdfunding, we talked about this one briefly last year, Vampire the Masquerade, which was I was going to back it, and then I saw how technology heavy and dependent it was, where you had to, have a player app. You had to have, some sort of tablet device or a phone. The game apparently is doing well because they've done an expansion. And again, it's got the little digital, game board where it can read stuff. It interacts with the app. Scroll down here to here's the little miniature where it's got the
little chip in it.
Yeah, so that the board can read it, what it's doing and stuff. The dice even have sensors in it, so they can their rolls can be recorded and whatnot. It looks like the all-in on this right now is €170. So, with as technology heavy as this game is, I'm not surprised by that price. And obviously, it did well enough and is doing well enough that they've decided to do an expansion for it. So, but again, for me, as soon as I found out it was as technology reliant as it was, that kind of turned me off. If I'm doing a board game, I want to get away from the tech. I sit in front of this, screen, 8 hours a day for my job. I don't want to, bury myself in a screen for when I'm, trying to have some fun. That being said, though, I can see where, some people, where it could give an aid to the gameplay where, you roll the dice, it can already calculate out what's happening based off your dice rolls, instead of you figuring it out. Okay, so here we go. Yeah, so the all-in, which looks like it has a couple of add-ons, is the €170. The base is €80. Here he is, Milan Uprising. That was the original. So that's available through the crowdfunding for €95. So, oh, here we go. The complete collection, €645. That's quite a chunk. But again, as technology heavy and technology driven as the game is, that is to be expected. The one thing that does, like you're gonna have to have a tablet or something with that too. So if you don't have, one that's appropriate, that's going to be an extra expense. But for those who are okay with that, it does look like a really great fun game. So.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, close that.
Moving on, we've got Wargames Atlantic. We've got. They are refunding the backers for Defiance Games Kickstarter from 2013.
Yeah, that's a really odd headline to come across. We're in 2025, so we're 12 years past 12 years past this Kickstarter, and Wargames Atlantic is making the decision to refund this. First and foremost, the fact that they're able to do that, does say a lot. But the fact that what project was this? This is something Bruce found. I probably should have read a little more on it. Defiance Games. Let's see. So it looks like it was just a. Oh, okay. Oh, so Defiance Games. I guess it's kind of a CMON 6 More Vodka situation where it was two companies collaborating, and Defiance Games is I guess throwing some mud, and Wargames Atlantic is just refunding it and going about their business, which good on them. I mean, they do a lot of stuff. They're a great company, so for them to do this, it doesn't surprise me. It's unfortunate that some of these companies, 6 More Vodka, Defiance Games. What was the one that Bruce is really bitter about? The base company.
I'm trying to remember now.
Yeah, where they essentially ran with the money and started a different business. But they were doing like these bases that were really cool. But yeah, it's unfortunate some of these companies feel the need to do that when they feel like they aren't getting what they should or aren't getting what they think they deserve or what they should be getting. But good on Wargames Atlantic. I think next is it's on tabletop talking about some new stuff for Burrows and Badgers, which I know Bruce loves that game. I wish he was here to talk about this because he'd probably do a way better job about it than I would or you would. But that looks like a really cool warrior priest there. Let's see what we got here. Oh, a squirrel ghast. That's cool. Again, this is such a interesting, whimsical looking game. Like it has a very Terry Pratchett Discworld feel to it with the animation mold sculpt style to it. Where it's that 60s era ish. Like what was that the Watership Down where it's like, oh, here's an animated movie that the kids will love it. No, it's that kind of that style is what this feels like. So
yep.
Ooh, Witch Hunter hair. A shrew, a Sergeant Weasel.
The badger kind of looks cool. His armor and the
well, I would hope the Badgers do look cool. I mean, the game is called Burrows and Badgers, so
yeah.
Some great looking things coming for this game. Like I said, I wish Bruce was here for his opinion because I'm sure he just wants more of it.
Yeah.
What do we got here? Oh, the Prussians have joined the Great War. This is for which game is it? Trench and Crusade. Yes. So it's a Kickstarter from 2024. They're doing a new army, it looks like. The Prussian... I can't read that. The font is kind of hard to read. The Prussian
Stahlstruppen Warband? Something like that.
Something like that. I got to nitpick on this. If you're going to have something, make the font readable. I understand where you're trying to go for, but that font's a little hard to read. But these miniatures look great, first and foremost. They have a very Crusade steampunk feel to them.
Yeah. Even though it's World War I era miniatures in terms of the weaponry, other than the Crusade, the big huge Crusader with his claymore sword.
Right, yeah, and the fairly massive helmet.
Yeah.
The one dude on the right there, the Feld Kaplan, that has a very Space Marine Dark Angels feel to it.
Yeah.
With the hooded cloak and the wings.
Mm-hmm.
But the minis on this, they just look... I wish none of them are clickable to make them bigger.
Yeah, I wish it would.
They look great. Like, they feel very War Machine Hordes type. They feel, they just look really good. Like, I know some miniatures, time and energy goes into them, and some do really good in making a great looking mini, like the Infinity folks do, and some feel very phoned in. These guys, they did a great job, and they definitely look like someone put a lot of actual good work into them. And then finally in our news space, I'm gonna have this muted, but I'm gonna start playing this video. It's from Army Painter. And this is it makes sense. They're updating their brush line to synthetics. Some of the brush line.
Correct.
Because the sable hair is becoming harder and harder to source because of animal rights activists. And I get it, exploiting animals for stuff, is always not the best thing, but then again, we have to do that to eat and survive, in some cases and whatnot. So, but for something like this, I kind of get that. And the fact that they've started with the wargaming line, which I would say is probably, I think, their biggest line as far as brushes. But they go through it and say in this video that synthetics have come a long way since they were first introduced. And towards the end of the video, they got... actual sable brushes, some synthetics, and just gave them blind testing to some of their painters.
Bunch of painters
to test and give their opinion on, and the painters were picking some of these new synthetics that Army Painter is doing, which is great. If these guys that are getting paid to paint are saying, yeah, these are great brushes, that's a good thing for the industry of, a good, reliable, humane source for brushes. The other thing they go on to mention, too, is they're moving away from doing a lot of plastics in their packaging and going to sustainable, like cardboards and stuff like that, which, again, I'm fully on board with. I've always been the, do we all need to be using this much plastic? I'm the guy who goes and buys the plastic milk jugs. Here's the sable on the screen there. They are pretty cute. But to move to cardboard packaging, I think is a good move. I mean, yes, they're tubs of I just froze up. Everything just froze up on my OBS recording. That's bad.
Uh-oh.
Alrighty, we're back. Had a little small glitch there with the recording. Fortunately, caught it right away. But yeah, so they're moving away from plastic packaging in favor of cardboard. They're calling these Bionic Bristles. Shot here of the painters getting ready to do this blind testing of the brushes. I'm gonna skip it forward here because they're releasing a new brush. And I've been doing these for years, and I don't feel if it was necessary to do a brush, but when you have a company that you sell things to make money, here we go. These monster
Yep.
chipping brushes. So essentially, it's a wooden handle with a block of foam on the end of it.
And you can pluck it off to make your chipping edge.
Yep. So
whatever you want.
I've been doing this for a while with the leftover pluck foam from pluck cases. Like, I don't throw that out. I save that for the purpose of doing stifling. Like, that's how I do the snow effect on the Space Wolf boots. Like, it's a good way to get texture in. So I don't know if that was an entirely necessary product to create. But like I said, when you're in the business of selling things to make money, you got to come up with new products to get people to buy it. So I'm very interested to check these out, because I did get some of the Games Workshop synthetic brushes, and they're all right. They're a little stiff. A couple of them, they came without a shape to begin with, so they never really had a shape to hold in the first place.
Had a shape to begin with.
Yeah.
Yep.
So but after hearing the what they're talking about with Sable getting harder to source and everything, I'm super happy I got my Winsor Newton Series 7s when I did, so that I have them and I'm not paying super outrageous pricing for them. Because if it's getting harder and harder to source, the people that are still making those brushes, if they have to pay more, guess who's going to pay more? Us, the consumer.
Yep.
Was it Squidmar is his name? He had
I think so.
a line of Sable brushes too, and he started running into all sorts of issues as far as like importing them to the U.S. and manufacturing. So it's just it's what things are becoming these days. So yeah. Next, I think it's time for some hobby.
Cream, blue, prime, paint.
What have you been up to, Socks?
You can kind of see it on my table back there.
I can't see your table.
I know. It's kind of hard to see. I got a couple of Gubbins boxes for 4th edition.
Ooh.
So, because they had some new tokens, as you kind of saw in some of the videos we had last few episodes when we showed the Gubbins box, was needing the new cards, the new Victory and Valor cards, and then I was needing some of the new tokens. I had some of the tokens already for my Armored Clash, because the Armored Clash tokens and Dystopian Wars, some of them are interchangeable, so I had some of them, but I didn't have some of the specialty ones. But again, I needed the decks of cards. So I bought a couple of boxes of Dystopian Wars Gubbin boxes, and then made a one and all Dystopian Wars / Armored Clash.
Ooh, hold that back up. Where did you get that box from? Is it just a tackle box, or?
It's a fishing tackle box from Bass Pro Shops. That's all it is.
That looks really good. That looks like it was almost made for something other than fishing. That looks way too clean.
Yes, it is a fishing tackle box normally, but I've been using this kind of storage trays for dice and tokens for years. So
yeah.
But my son and I have been playing, trying to learn the rules for 4th edition. So that's been my hobby. It's been kind of chaotic with the shutdown and everything. My actual class had to shut down, and so we were scrambling, sending students home a week early, and so because of everything. So
wow.
we were approved to continue teaching, and then all of a sudden they came back and said, no, we can't, we don't think this is going to work, so go home. So
interesting. So
it's been kind of chaotic at work too. And then I thought I was going to be helping with some of the curriculum rewrite and stuff like that, doing with some of the feedback we got from the students, but then they put me into a leadership course to help me get ready for Squadron Command next summer. So it's been kind of a whirlwind in the last week and a half. So with all these changes going on. So, but
Semper Gumby?
Yeah, exactly. But with the news that I showed you guys on the chat, Sultanate, we should be getting some previews of Armored Clash Sultanate faction I'm guessing next week because that's going to be the
Nice.
release for November. So I'm guessing next episode we'll have some actual models and box art to show off. And so I am probably going to start putting together my Prussians, my Imperium for Armor Clash. That way I probably won't have them painted yet, but at least more on the together so I can have a little skirmish game when I get my Sultanate, because I'm excited to get Sultanate here probably Christmas time.
Nice.
Be my guess. So, what about you, George?
Well, let's see. I drove 2,600 miles in a week.
Yeah, you didn't do anything either.
And then I was on Eastern time, so I was getting up at 6:30 in the morning Eastern time, and going to bed at 10:30 Mountain time. So I was essentially getting up at 4:30 and going to 10:30, and did a whole bunch of driving. So it really wasn't much of a vacation. I did get some reading done on my Malifaux rule book, and the more I read it, the more it's kind of like I do kind of think I want to get into this, but again, I have to see if I can get a community going of other people like, hey, do you want to play this game? Because
absolutely.
If no one else wants to play it, then I have no one to play with.
What's Sam up to? I know he's graduated, but
I haven't heard from him for a little bit. I think he's moved over to Iowa. So
okay.
That's it's what happens when as people get older, right? So
Yep.
I'm trying to think. There was something else. Oh, yeah. I know they're all over the place, but Fantic, right? Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
I'm printing this hydroponics tower still. I'm working on it, and there's a lot of pieces that need sanding, and this filament likes to string, and I got tired of hand sanding, so I picked up their little rotary tool.
Oh, nice.
And the rotary tools, people think like, oh, that'd be great for hobby, but then you go to use it, and they spin so fast that it just melts instead of cuts or sands. This one, it goes really slow, so it actually does have a potential.
That's nice
for some hobby use, because it was working to sand the brim off of these 3D pieces, and not melt it. So
that's nice.
That gives me some hopes there. So yeah, not a lot going on my front of things. I've literally, I took Monday off to recover, but we got back on Monday. And so I spent the last week and a half just recovering from a crazy vacation that was not a vacation.
Not a vacation? Yeah. That doesn't sound fun.
No. It was, but it wasn't. So because we also did all that driving with 4 dogs too. So
yeah, that doesn't help either.
That being said, though, I did get a time lapse going from Wyoming to Ohio from a GoPro on the dash cam. So I got that condensed down into 22 minutes, and I got it uploaded. So
nice.
I'll share the link to y'all, and at least some of the like Michelle can just be mind blown how much we can drive in a couple days.
yeah, absolutely.
So
and still be just a few states away,
right? Well, it's funny as we were going, it takes forever to get across Nebraska. Then it's
yes,
Missouri wasn't too bad. Then Indiana, so going
as the states get this instead of like this, it's oh
yeah. So Indiana is 140 miles wide. That's like driving from Cheyenne to Rawlins, and that's only half of Wyoming.
Yeah.
So,
and then if you ever go east to west or through I-10 in Texas, or whatever one is there, that goes through El Paso all the way through.
Yeah,
you
spend
3 days
just driving
just in
Texas.
one state.
Yeah,
yeah.
So, I haven't had a lot of time for hobbies, so just recovering, and I've done some things, but nothing of any sort of earth-shattering note.
Talk nerdy to me.
That's better.
Yeah, I can't push the right button. That's how tired I am, folks. So game talk. Kind of came up with this idea on the fly. What's the favorite game you've ever taught someone to play, Socks?
Probably the one I'm playing right now on my table. Probably Dystopian Wars.
Dystopian Wars.
Yeah. I've really enjoyed. I mean, you guys know it, and the community knows that listens. I'm a dedicated war host, so I'm affiliated with War Cradle Studios in a way. But just being able to kind of build the community that I had before it kind of dissolved in Florida was a lot of fun. And I really enjoy that game. I mean, I love it that you guys got me that for my birthday. What, 3 years ago now?
Seems like for
Something like that.
forever.
I know, right? Maybe two. But still, um, I've enjoyed playing it. I enjoy teaching people. I've wanted to continue trying to teach people here. Just with me going to school last year and now teaching, it's kind of been hard for me to get out there. Plus, I want to have some stuff that's painted up for both of my armies, so it's
I
nice
mean,
and pretty on the table.
when you're a war host, it's probably frowned upon if you show up with gray plastic to demo a game.
Correct. I agree. I agree. Although that's how it was to begin with, but yeah,
Yeah.
I agree.
Well, yeah, when
Um,
you just get new stuff, and it's like I mean, not everyone, like my weird hiatus year of working when Drop Fleet came out. I got my
yeah,
diamond in one day and got it painted in one day. The top
yeah.
half, anyways. Not everyone can do that. So
No, no. And so but I've just enjoyed doing that. And so, I mean, I've enjoyed teaching my boys how to play it. They have their own armies. My oldest has Commonwealth, and my second son has Enlightened. So it's been fun teaching that game, not only to my boys who are getting into the hobby, but then to the others that I've been able to. So,
I would have to say, mine's going to be way simpler because it's it's a board game. Was probably Forbidden Desert,
yeah,
and then to an extension of that Pandemic, which both designed by Matt Leacock. It was kind of a family game night, and Casey's family is the very traditional what are the board games in the department store aisle, like Monopoly,
yeah,
sorry, those kind of games. So when I pulled out Forbidden Desert and was trying to explain, like, we're playing together against the game. The game will tell us where this is, and we have to do this. And I remember Casey's brother just like, I don't understand. How does the game know this?
yeah,
It's just cardboard cards. Like, how does the game know where this piece is at for us to go get it from there? And as we played, and the realization of, oh, this is how it does it. Well, that's actually very clever and simple. That
ingenious. Yeah,
you know pieces of cardstock can tell you and like change where something is from game to game, and to that extent too, Pandemic,
yep,
another game night, where a lot of people, their exposure to board games was again very limited to what you find in the aisles of Walmart and Target and stuff like that, and to pull out something
yeah,
like Pandemic of you know the game is really trying to kick your butt,
yes,
and you've got one hand tied behind your back and your shoes are tied together. um and yeah, it was like teaching the concepts of game nights can be you getting together and playing a game together was I think the best part, because usually most games when it's you sit down, you play against someone,
yep,
you're trying to win the game. And I think that's a great thing that's really come about in the last few years, is the idea of cooperative games, because sitting down with your friends and playing with them is a lot more fun than competing against them. Now,
yeah,
that being said, I still love the war games where you're trying to beat your opponent and stuff like that. I still like that. Don't get me wrong,
yeah.
but to sit down and work together is I think is more fun and fulfilling way to spend time than your standard game.
Yeah,
So
I agree. I agree. And I actually had a conversation in my little leadership class that I'm in yesterday, uh, about if people think that board game industries handle well with recessions. And I said it can go both ways, because you think about it. During a recession, are you going to want to pay $40 to go to a movie theater and see it once with the snacks and whatever? Or do you want to pay $40 with the board game and have hours of fun being able to play it again. And so it can go both ways. And so that's the nice thing about board games is you buy it once. Yeah, it's maybe an expensive board game. I mean, some of them are getting expensive these days, but you have hours of it fun after that. So
yeah, like if I were to recommend, like if someone's just like, I want a game to play with my friends, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to recommend Cthulhu Death May Die. That's $100 buy-in, but either one of the two core boxes, season 1 or season 3, that's 2 of the gods and 6 scenarios. So that's 12 games right there that are uniquely different. Yeah, it's $100, but $100 to get essentially that many different games. I mean, when you sit down and play Monopoly, it's the same game over and over. So the replayability, and that's what's great about wargaming too, is it's never the same game because
terrain's different, your army's going to be, deployment's going to be different.
So
yeah, absolutely.
So let's expand on this a little more. What game would you want someone to teach you that you've not played?
That's a good question. I don't know, since I have a lot of them on the shelf already. And having worked at a game store, I know it's been almost 10 years or 20 years since I worked at the game store. I know a lot of games from across the industry.
Right.
So, it's a good question. I don't know. What about you? I'll have to think some more.
So right off the bat, because it's the big MacGuffin in the room, Twilight Imperium. I've always been like,
I need to go to IP Warren.
No, you don't. Not right.
Not now. Right now. No.
Not well. I won't say what I was about to say, but there's something about that game for as long as it's been around and for as huge as it is. Like, there's got to be something about it, like that's worth the time to play it.
You've heard of Tabletop Simulator, right?
No.
So Tabletop Simulator is a
simulator. I thought you said Team Leader.
No, Tabletop Simulator.
Yeah. No, I have that in my Steam.
They have a mod for TW4.
Ooh.
I'm pretty sure. I'll have to go into it. I'll have to look into it, but yeah, I think they have a mod for it.
But yeah, no, I'm kind of in that same boat that you're into. It's just like, what game? Because, I didn't work at a game store. I owned a game store. Then, I was, I'm good buddies with guys that own the, I think 3rd generation game store after mine. I'm still friends with it. Like, I've been in all the games, I've seen so many of the games, it's, I've probably played a couple of games that I know I've played at least one game that you've never heard of. So it's, I don't know. It's, but there's something about teaching a game too, where it's, especially if you love the game.
Yeah.
And like, someone's willing to sit down and take the time of like, listen to your spiel of why this is so cool.
Yeah, I agree. Absolutely agree.
And I think that's about it for us this evening. Do have one mention, Brother Bear, Ben. He did a video series with Jason the Bruce of Bushido. He asked us to mention the Newcastle Kill Team crew have found a new home at Brady's Board Game and Hobby Club in Wards Bay, Newcastle. Weekly meetup Thursday nights at 5 p.m. Venue charges $10 to use venue and tables. So I don't know if that's per person or just a table. Parking around the building as well as street parking. They serve alcohol, must be 18 plus and have an ID. Obviously not the United States if it's 18 plus. The address is Unit 1, 44/46 Metcalfe Street, Warrens Bay, New South Wales 2282, Australia. And we'll get the Discord link in the show notes. And website for Brady's Board Game and Hobby Club, https:// www.bradys or BRAIDYSBGHC.com. We'll get that in the show notes as well. Where can they find us? Oh wait, actually, more importantly, Socks. You got something about Valhalla Hobby?
Yeah, Valhalla Hobby is an awesome store. So they have a store front up in Wisconsin, but they also sell games and stuff online. And with our code tabled, you can get 5% off for your first order over $100. It's kind of a sponsorship for us. We don't get anything back, but it just kind of helps them get their name out as well. But they have Dystopian Wars, they have Magic the Gathering, they have your run-of-the-mill common games, but then they have those unknowns out there in the world as well that are sometimes hard to find. And if they don't have it, they can either find it for you or know where else to go that you can possibly find it. So,
and just to throw this out there too, I've had the I can't remember the name of it, the Fox Warband for Bushido and webpage on my browser for forever because I'm still so tempted to get that for no reason other than to just have it. And despite the nature of things, the price on it has hardly gone up. I think it went from 67 to 72, which is still well below the MSRP. So, they're more concerned about, keeping the prices reasonable so that, people have access to the games to play the games. So,
yeah. Prices are not bad there. So, at all.
Alrighty. Thank you to our sponsors over at Patreon, patreon.com/GameTable, $2 a month. Get you early access to the video content and access to the live recordings. Our website is gettingtable.com. Most of our posts go up on facebook.com/GameTabled. It's where we're most active at. I've got to set up on a little something. I get to play with that tonight, tomorrow, as I post this episode up in the information. Of course, you can find the video on youtube.com/gettingtabled. If you got stuff you want us to know about, questions for us, or things we should know about, you can definitely email us at gettingtabled@gmail.com. X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it, Instagram, Blue Sky, Threads, those are all at Getting Tabled, and we have a subreddit of r/Getting Tabled. Jason the Bruce, he does have his other project called Toy Reel, which is youtube.com/toyreel, and he's got his site for the game he's developing, entropycitygame.com. Anything else for the folk socks?
Find Dystopian Wars. I'll teach you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
For listening to Getting Tabled. Music used in this podcast was created by Eric Mataris at soundimage.org.